Ah, what does SMP stand for? It's an old military adage, right? It's prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Yeah, so I'm Nick Taylor. I'm a partner and instructor with 7P Overland. Primarily, we're an expeditionary-style driver training company. And by expeditionary-style, that's kind of the overland kind of driving, not the big rock crawling. Although we do a bit of that, but we're really more about getting people outside with their vehicles on these vehicle-dependent expeditions, from camping at weekends to these extended, maybe multi-year trips around the world. We give people the knowledge and set them on the path of getting some experience before they set off on those kind of journeys. My specialisation is more North Africa. I spent a lot of time in the Sahara, in the Rub al Khali in the Middle East, sort of long range, very sandy desert, long range type travel. So, and of course the other guys bring their own thing to the table too. Really, I'm a computer guy, I'm an engineer, and I started working in investment banking. So I started in London in the city, and then I went to Tokyo and Singapore, all in that sort of financial services, but in the investment banking part of it. I'm what you call a mackem, so I'm from Sunderland in the northeast of England, definitely not a Geordie, definitely a mackem. I grew up there, had great friends and family still there, and I enjoy getting out and being outside. And so, gradually over time, my career changed. I went from that, I did a stint in sort of telecommunications, and then from there I found that after my last sort of full-time job, I didn't really want to do that again, because when this was a hobby for me, it still is a hobby for me, this overlanding and four-wheel driving. You think, well, what do you want to get out of life? And there was a pivot point for me before I did my first overland journey. So my mum and dad, there's three of us, right? My mum, my dad and me. I'm an only child, and really close, tight, great family. My parents are awesome. So, and then my dad died earlier than he should have done, right? And all these plans that my mum and dad had to retire, they went out the window. And I thought, no way, man. I'm not going to live that lie that we're all told, right? Hey, work hard for 40 years, then you can cash out. You know what? People drop dead before they even get close to that. So get out there and do it right now. And that was my thinking, so I did. So I was right on the cusp of being offered another job, and I said, you know what? Negotiations, right? And so I got all the other things. I said, well, and by the way, I'm not going to start for 4 months. 4 months coincidentally happened to be about how long it would take to hire somebody to do my job. But I was like, I went in that deal absolutely prepared to walk away from a brilliant job, well-paying job, ticked all the boxes for me. And that was in New York, actually. So they begrudgingly said yes. So I had 4 months to play with then, but I'd already done all the planning, already bought the vehicle. The first trip that we did, we played around, a very adventurous first trip was Morocco. Well, actually Morocco is still one of my favorite places. It has a wonderful mix of, medieval cities, twisty, turny Medina. In Marrakesh, folks cook outside in the big square at night and you see all the smoke. It's very atmospheric, colour, smoke, sight, smells. All of that stuff is just wonderful. Yeah, Morocco is a great place, and you also have beautiful mountains with cedar forests on them. So as you're up there, even in the early spring, because typically Morocco is a bit warm for a northern Englander like me, you go over the mountains, there's still snow, and then you drop down the other side of the mountains into the south, and you've got this wonderful kind of introduction to the Sahara type of trip. It's a Sahara 101 in Morocco, but it gives you phenomenal experience. You feel very, very, very remote, even though there's a lot of people in Morocco, and they do come out of nowhere. But it's a fantastic first trip, and we went a bit further than that. What we did, I went with my old best mate Lee. Right, we've known each other since we're 3 years old. Great trip for the both of us, and then we kind of went with an organised trip just to get our feet wet for the first part, and then after that. We said goodbye to those in the south end of Morocco. Did a bit more exploring in Morocco by ourselves, down to the coast. Playing on the beaches, perhaps getting stuck once or twice and learning some recovery techniques by the hard way. Getting back out of that, following the coast down all the way through the Western Sahara, which is it's a Morocco occupied country basically. There's a lot of UN presence there, and then we went through the Western Sahara, explored around there a little, down into Mauritania. Now Mauritania is the real Sahara. In fact, these days, it's a safe place to go, but it's the big desert, and it's one of the few places you can travel in the Sahara where you don't need a guide. Like, nobody tags along with you. You're free to go most places by yourself. There are some restrictions, but even today you can still do all of that. So exploring Mauritania, and that was really inspired by Tom Shepard, So Tom Shepherd, to us guys as four-wheel drive instructors, he's kind of our guru. He's an ex-RAF test pilot. He wrote our Bible, which is called the Vehicle Dependent Expedition Guide. Jonathan co-wrote the latest version, and Jonathan's incredibly knowledgeable too. And that team of Tom and Jonathan, the VDEG is, as I say, just the Bible. But reading that kind of stuff, and also reading stuff by Chris Scott, and both of those guys over time, Tom and Chris, became good friends. So and it's great when you've turned a little interest like that. And I know these guys and friends of mine, and how that evolves over time. But just the picking open a copy of the VDEG, as we call it, or flicking it through Sahara Overland, gets you thinking about, gets you really itchy feet, right? You really want to go and you really want to get out there. And those guys do a really inspirational job. We're online at 7p.io, and the website covers kind of the three things that we do. It covers the training, and we have scheduled training trips that we do. We also do bespoke training trips. Folks often email us, say, hey, we just bought this vehicle, and myself and my wife would like to go out and learn some basic things. We do that kind of stuff. We can do that any time of the year. Next year, early in 2019, we've got Morocco and also an option extension into Mauritania. So the first half of that trip is a little bit more comfortable. We're staying in some nice places, obviously doing some desert bush camping. Camping is always a part of the 7P experience. And another trip that we're looking forward to next year is our trip to Belize. We've been to Belize a few times, and it's a great sort of tough and tailored kind of thing. So there's definitely going to be a bit of winching. You're definitely going to put your vehicle through the paces. Belize is easy to drive to, so we welcome people. We encourage people to bring their own vehicles. Of course, if they don't want to, we can get vehicles anywhere in the world. And then, small group, that's kind of our speciality. A very high either instructor or guide ratio. So, for example, when we're teaching, we never go more than 1 to 2. Very often 1 to 1. So you get very high bandwidth communication. Works very well from the instruction perspective. And then when we operate as guides, same kind of thing. Southern Africa trips is very popular for us to be the driver guide, and it's great because then you can look for the animals and enjoy the beautiful scenery and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of thing works very well. Belize a little different, folks bringing their own trucks. We maybe spend some time in the trucks with them. We'll have our own support vehicles too. Yeah, but there's going to be some mud, there's going to be some rain. We're going to have some great camps in the jungle. Bring a hammock. We'll bring the beer. And I think, in the latter years of the Camel Trophy, they had one logo. They had a logo plastered on the side of the Land Rovers, and I think it sums it up the best way possible. And it says, "One life, live it."